Okay, so what I've done, I've taken this first component here that has to go in. I've already put my bolts through there. I'm gonna go ahead and slide these spacers on. I got a little dab of lubricating on the end of each fastener because it was so difficult to get out before. Go ahead and slide that in there. Hope this magnet doesn't grab those spacers and try to yank them off. Push that onto the shaft. Just like that. Go ahead and run those down, tighten those up. Okay, before I tighten all these down completely, what I'm doing is I'm taking the metal part of the part that I had to sand off. I'm going to put one on each side so they're actually as close to where they need to be when they rotate and pass around that field. That's where I want them. So basically at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, I'm going to work around and tighten these up, get them real snug, and then test it. Okay, I'm not hearing all that grinding that I had before. There's no binding anywhere. So let's go ahead and tighten them all down. The wire actually is open and it slides down under that cap head. We're gonna, that nylon block right there receives a square shank on that bolt, so it doesn't spin. We'll slide that in there first. Then I'll put my wire in there, pointing down, like so. Do like that. Now we got this little fiber nylon washer that goes in and actually has a shoulder on it that passes through the case of the Magneto. I'll hold this in place. Make sure that goes through there. I bet it's a tight fit. Yep. Okay, just like that. Next, we're going to put in our, got this little dude here. We're going to clean it up real quick. Like that. Our kill button goes on next. We'll adjust that here in a second. Followed by, this is a lock washer. Then the nut that holds that down goes on next. At this point, you want to adjust your kill button at the 9 o'clock position, looking at it, pointing that way. Go ahead and snug this up. Just keep in mind how small this hardware is. Ain't much to it. We won't get too crazy. Like I said before, I'm using a 5/16, but it's obviously not the right size. I have dug and dug and dug for the right size tool. I can't find it. Okay, that ought to work. And it's touching bare metal back there on the case, so that would function correctly. Let's see here. Let's do a little testing as we're going together with it. Now that we got our alligator clamps on the leads, let's make sure there's no continuity between here and here. And there's not. That's an open line. If we go to the end of here, And it's continuity there, so that's correct. All right, next thing we want to do is put our coil in. What you need to do when you put the core in the coil, this little spring part goes on the opposite end of your contact point there, and the wider part of the coil core goes on the bottom, so it goes in just like this. Okay, the spring is in the back, the wide part is on the bottom. That's the way it came out. That's the way we're going to put it back in. We're going to center it and slide it back in there. It's got to go in there. You can't put one in ahead of the other one. It's got to go in exactly even, just like that. That looks right to me. Next, we're going to put the little saddle clamps over the coil. Remember, the one on the right hand side goes behind all these wires, like that. Put the one on the left. Like that. A couple of screws. Oh, I wish I had some magnetic screwdrivers. Isn't that something? Let me take a little peek in there, make sure that looks right. I believe so. In all my years of experience with working with magnetos, that looks right. Okay, I need to do a video on how to magnetize your screwdrivers, looks like. Really didn't bother me until I started messing with these screws that I don't have much access to. Okay, none of the wires are pinched or anything. Alright, don't get too crazy on that. That is plastic. The coil, we want to break it. Alright, let's tell you what, let's take just a little sandpaper on the end of that coil there. Kind of polish it up a little bit. I want to give this thing every chance in the world to work, although I'm pretty sure at this point that the coil is bad. I'm getting my practice together here. I'm getting my practice in. If I had a coil, I'd probably still put the old one in first just to make sure. Now we're going to install the points, but I gotta clean my hands first. I'll have them points ruined. Okay, now we're going to go back in with the new points. Nice and shiny. Awesome. Okay. That dude's going to go right there. It's going to get this little washer. It's going to go on that shaft, just like that. Then, I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and put my screws in. These are just going to go on snug at this point. Kind of hold everything together. Alright, and still, that gum, I guess that was too tight already. There we go. Okay, that's our adjustment right there. That works. Now we're going to put the other half of the points in. That's going to drop in right here on that same shaft. And you put a washer on the shaft. And then this tiny, tiny, tiny little keeper. I'm going to break out the hemostats for that. I don't feel like chasing this thing around the shop today. It could still happen, but let's just try not to do that. Oh, come on now. All right, I think we've about got it. It needs a little more push. All right, that's it. Yeah, that got it. Okay. That got it. Set these aside. Like I said before, the kit comes with a new felt. I'm guessing because they sent me 2 pieces of felt here. One, I don't have anything. I don't have anything in this Magneto that looks like that little piece of felt right there. So there must be a model of this Magneto or a reason for that point set up to go somewhere else that would use that little bitty wiper. I'm going to replace the wiper, put 3 drops of oil on it. Actually, let's see here. Yeah, I may go ahead and adjust that. Let's get our cam in the right spot. Remember, we want the big lobe setting at about 3 o'clock. Now I gotta have my coil condenser in there first. All right, so we'll put the wiper bracket on there. It's also the condenser bracket. Put the condenser on, connect all 3 wires and the arm for the points, and then we'll do a point adjustment. Okay. The point set comes with a new screw and a new washer, the one that you're going to use to connect all the wires to the points. Oh heck, it even comes with that fancy little retaining pin too, so let me replace that real quick. Whenever they give you something new, you might want to use it. There might be a reason. It might be something that wears out, gets weak, whatever. Or they could just be assuming you're going to fling it across the shop, which would normally be the case around here. Oh, that fits better anyway. Yeah. Okay. Now, first thing that goes on this, on the under the first thing that goes on this part right here, whatever that is, is the point arm. Then the wire that goes to the points. I'm sorry, the wire that goes to the kill wire. Then the blue wire to the condenser. Then the black wire. So we're going to start that way. This was a bit of a chore to do while it was still mounted in the tractor. I can assure you it was no fun. Hopefully this is way easier. Oh yeah. You can't imagine how difficult that was. Okay. That's pretty snug. Should be good. Now we got one more screw that goes to the coil wire. Oh, actually no. That screw goes, coil wire actually goes behind that screw for the coil clamp. How'd y'all let me forget that? Probably had comments already. Hey boy, you forgetting something. There we go. Tight, tight. We're going to adjust the points. We're looking at 15 thousandths. Be about right there initially. Okay, check it again. Feels pretty good to me. Snug it up. Snug it up. Okay. Now I have come to the conclusion in this learning experience of taking a Magneto apart, trying to figure out why I had continuity between here and the body, that is going to be normal to a certain degree because it's measuring through the coil. Now it's measuring through the coil and who knows what all else. You got, let's see, to the body you would get the resistance from the condenser because the condenser is mounted to the body. You'd get the resistance from the coil because the coil wire runs through here, and then the other wire, the other end of the coil, is grounded out right there. So you'd have to add that and that, and that would be it. I got the lights off so we can maybe see a spark if there's one gonna materialize here. Okay, let's clean this side off. see. Right there, right there. Now, got a spark. Well, now that we got the Magneto firing again, we've got to address this seal. You might remember early on in the video, this cork gasket, it's actually a seal that is going to prevent dirt and dust and water maybe from passing into the mechanical end of the Magneto. Well, I can't find a piece of cork that thick, so I may have to double this up. So I went and got a roll of cork that is 26 inches by 10 inches and 1/16 of an inch thick. It's probably half of what it needs to be. I may have to double it up, I don't know. But first thing I got to do is find a template that is about the same size as that rotating part of the shaft there. I may have to just wing it and take a felt marker and go around and cut on the inside of the mark. But we'll see. It may take some trial and error, but I'll figure out something. Well, it took a little bit of trial and error, but actually when I marked around the powder trickler, I ended up having to almost completely cut the black line off. So I took, the fine point marker and took almost all of the black off there completely. And it fits on the shaft now, so all we got to do, and I kind of compared the thickness of these. I may have been incorrect. That's about as close as you can get. Two of them would be thicker than the original. So I'm going to try one. Get that in there. That presses down in there. I just took a little drill bit and kind of reamed that cork out of the hole so it doesn't give me any interference. Putting the screw in. Oh yeah. It's not perfect, but I think it'll work. It's better than what was there, which was almost nothing. Okay. Put the screw in. Now we're going to go ahead and put the cap on the back side of the Magneto. Okay, so this is the cap. You got a gasket that needs to be in place. There's a little spring on the cap that touches the point on the coil where your fire comes out, and then it transfers it to the coil wire, spark plug wire out of there. I'm just going to take a little sandpaper and kind of brush that spring a little bit. Lightly. Like so. Put the gasket back in place. And the screws are captive. Make sure it's seated good. Install 4 screws. Alright, so what I found was a glue stick. It's about the right diameter. I cut some sandpaper that would go around the glue stick about twice. Once I got it down in the bottom, I was able to rotate it. And clean that brass down in there is shining like a new penny. So we're ready to go reinstall this Magneto on the Gravely.